the stream behind the hockey rink on our campus, and we are talking about where this water comes from. So when it precipitates on our campus, all of the surrounding woods in this area are coming downhill. So when it precipitates and it rains or snows, all of that water ends up in this stream because it's a watershed. And the stream starts a little uphill, or a little upstream rather, from a wetlands area, and so that's really saturated. So again, when it precipitates, it just adds on and creates even more water coming into this stream, which is flowing downstream, as you can see. And eventually this river meets up, or this stream rather, meets up with the Quinnebog River, and then the Quinnebog River eventually flows into the Block Island and Fisher Island Sounds, and ultimately the Atlantic Ocean. So the types of pollutants that we're concerned about in this area are mainly the fertilizer from farmlands and golf courses, because that's what we see a lot in our area. We have a lot of farmlands and we have a lot of golf courses that use fertilizers. Another source could be the fertilizer that houses use on their lawns, but we don't see that as much as we see fertilizers from the farmlands and golf courses.
So this is the process we went through to test the dissolved oxygen level in all 7 of our samples. We added different chemical solutions to the water sample, mixing along the way, and then we let the sample settle to the halfway level before we then added sulfuric acid powder, as Sam is doing, and then we again mixed it into the sample. We then poured it into the titration chamber, and then by adding starch indicator and a sodium thiosulfate solution and stirring many times, we measured the DO level once the solution was clear, as you can see here.
See, our campus brook, which is our watershed, had an average dissolved reading of 9.1 ppm, which tells us that our water quality in our watershed is good and healthy for all types of lives, as dissolved oxygen is important for life, especially for fish to survive. We see many fish getting killed due to low DO level, so this level tells us that our water quality is sustainable and healthy.
Yeah, and this is why a small amount of pollutant matters, because when the chemical runoff enters the water, it causes algae blooms, which then become dangerous since the algae blooms block the sun, and ultimately the plants die because they don't get the sunlight that they need to grow, which creates a lot of bacteria, and then the bacteria takes in the oxygen in the water, so ultimately this leads to large fish kills because they don't have enough oxygen, like Sam said.
As you can see in our average DO graph, all 7 water samples had fairly similar DO levels, which tells us that they are healthy and sustainable. The standard error was less than 0.4 for all 7 samples. Longbrook had the highest DO level of 9.725 ppm, and Thames River Outlet had the lowest DO level of 7.675 ppm.
P.S. We can totally mitigate these pollutants by minimizing the amount of fertilizers we're using on our lawns, on golf courses, and on farms, and by minimizing the amount of chemical runoff that enters rivers, streams, and other bodies of water. Let's water on!